Welcome everyone. Welcome to the first Connection Wednesdays in 2021. Today we will speak about CAD BIM links to IDEA StatiCa connections, and with the special focus on beginners. So it's also my great pleasure that with a new year I can introduce my new colleague, Jan Kubíček, who is a new product engineer and a new member of IDEA StatiCa crew. So, Janko, how are you today?
Hi everyone from my detached office. Yeah, so short info about me. As you heard, my name's Jan Kubíček, and I'm a new member of the product engineers team. And I'm a structural engineer and experienced mostly in the design and analysis of steel structures. And today it's my webinar premiere, so I hope you'll be forgiving if I make some beginner's slip. So Jana, the word is yours again.
Yeah, don't worry. I also made a mistake. I forgot to introduce myself. So my name is Jana Kaděrová. I'm also a product engineer at IDEA StatiCa, and we are both located in Czech Republic. So before we start the webinar, let me just mention the practical things. You are muted by default as usual, but you can communicate with us via the questions panel in GoToWebinar window. So please use this tool to ask your questions. Feel free to do it. We will try to answer them during the webinar, and if there are more of them than we are able to answer, we will definitely write you an email with the answer. So what is the agenda of today's webinar? Today we will shortly speak about the different types of BIM links. I will just make a short introduction of this, and afterwards we will have a look at a customer project, which is the connections exported from a steel hole modeled in Tekla structures to IDEA StatiCa Connection. And in the end, we will have a help desk highlight as usual in Connection Wednesdays. And Janko will show you what you can do yourself if the BIM link integration does not go smooth. So something fails, and he will give you an advice what you can do in such a situation. So the customer project is such a steel hole modeled in Tekla structures. We chose Tekla, but the workflow I will present is identical to what you can do from Advanced Steel or Revit. So if you don't use Tekla, you don't have to worry because the workflow and the application is just the same. So I will show you how the Project Manager works, how to export a single connection or a bulk of connections, and then we will have a look at different loading options in IDEA StatiCa, and also what to do if you need to synchronize your models. The help desk highlight will be focused on the BIM link integration and what to do if it fails. So now let me just go very briefly through the different types of BIM links we have. So we generally distinguish between the finite element software links and a CAD links. So on the side of the CAD links, we have Tekla Structure link, Autodesk Revit, and Autodesk Advanced Steel link, and they work just the same. And then there's another group of links to finite element analysis tools such as SAP 2000, StatPro, SIA, Midas, Advanced Design Robot, and many more, of course. So all of them are listed on our website, and it's important to say that we try to keep the link updated. And the general rule is that we support the last two versions of each application. So for example, at the moment, the link works well with Advanced Steel 2020 and 21 and Tekla Structures 2019 and 20, Revit 20 and 21. If you want to be sure that the version you have is supported by the link, please go to our website, open the BIM links tab, and in the list of different applications, find your application and check whether the version is supported at the moment or not. And before we jump to the customer project, let me just ask you to fill a brief poll. We will have a poll, so I will start the first one. I will launch it, and we would like to ask you, for the structural drawings, what do you use? If it's a 2D CAD application, if it's Tekla, Autodesk Advanced Steel, Autodesk Revit, or some other application. So please let us know, because we are always very interested what our users actually work with. Okay, I will leave you just a few more seconds because I can see that you are still voting. Okay, so last 5 seconds and I will close the poll. Okay, so thank you very much. I'm closing the poll now and I will share the results. And you can see that most of you use Tekla structures, and on the other place is some 2D CAD, and then Revit, other application, and Autodesk Advanced Steel. Okay, so thank you for your attendance in the poll, and now let me start with the project. So I will just prepare the Tekla project, and you can see that I have a hole in a Tekla structures. At the top of the application, you can see the IDEA StatiCa tab, and under it, there's a Code Check Manager button. This appears after a short integration process, which you have to do only for the first time you want to connect IDEA StatiCa and Tekla structures. I will not show the integration process at the moment because my colleague Janko will speak about it at the end of the webinar. So if you have never used this link before, please stay till the end. Janko will show you the integration, and now I will show you what this Code Check Manager actually does. So what options we have within this application. Code Check Manager is kind of a tool that we use to manage all the exported connections from your Tekla or Advanced Steel or any other application project to IDEA StatiCa Connection, and it stores all the information. After I start it, for the first time for a given project in Tekla, it asks me to select the design code I want to use for the actual check of the connections. So as the project in Tekla is modeled in IESC, I will use the US code also for the export. This is something I have to do for the first time, and the next time it saves this information and I cannot change it easily. So please always select the proper code in the first step. This is the Code Check Manager itself, and we can see it's empty at the moment. So I have to start by selecting different connections. We have the option to choose between one and bulk. Let me start with the one, and for that I will just select this connection of the column. What I have to do is to press the one option. The window switches to Tekla structures, and now I have to do a 3-step procedure to export the connection. The first step is to select the point which will represent the node in the IDEA StatiCa model. So always I try to select some middle point or some intersection of the member's axis. In this case, it's quite simple because I will select just the middle point of the connection. The second step is to select all the structural members. So I will select both columns, and I will confirm my selection with the space bar. And the third step is to select all the other entities of the connection as plates, bolts, and welds. And again, I have to confirm with the space bar. Now the application asks me if I want to import also recommended welds. This is something which was implemented in the last version of IDEA StatiCa in 20.1, and the application tries to automatically find some missing welds, because that was something that our users occasionally had problems with, that if the model in Tekla was not properly done, then not everything was connected in IDEA StatiCa. So now we try to search automatically for this unwelded parts, and we give user the option to add them. In my case, there's nothing welded, so there's no difference between these two options at the moment. So I will select one of them, and now I will wait for the connection to appear in the CodeCheck Manager. And you can see I have my first item in the list. The preview is not available at the moment, but it will appear after I open the project. So I will press open, and IDEA StatiCa Connection application will start. And hopefully I will see all the members. You can see both columns and all the manufacturing operations, all the plates and bolts. What I am missing at the moment to start the calculation is the load. So I will add a new load. I will start with the simplest option with the hand input of the load. So you will add it with the right mouse button, new load, a table appears, and I will just input some axial force on those columns. You can see the load was applied. If I want to add another load effect, I can do it either with the right mouse button or with the button in the top ribbon. So this is quite an equivalent solution. And now I can add another load case. And I will put the load to balance. You can see that there are no unbalanced forces, and I'm fine. I will just start the calculation from here, and afterwards I will have results of the code according to AISC code. And on the first side, we can see that there are green hooks, which means the connection passed the check. And I can also see some basic colors. The green means we are still between 50 to 95% of utilization for the given part, and the yellow or the orange color represents that we are between 95 to 100% of utilization, but we still did not cross the limit, so there is no red color. Of course, I can also open more detailed results of plates, and for bolts, you can see that for each bolt there are results according to your code, and of course you can also generate a report. I will not go through the results in detail because this webinar tries to stay focused on the BIM link and how you can use it. So I will just briefly show you that you can, of course, adjust the report, add or remove different parts. You can export it to Word document or PDF. So let's say I'm satisfied with the design and I will save the project and close it. And I can see also in the code check manager the general results for the connection. Okay, so but what happens if I need to change something in the model? So let's say for some reason I have to change the bolts here. So the advice is to do it in Tekla and then synchronize those two models. Let's say I will add, for example, another row of bolts. I will just modify the connection. So from 3, I will change it to 4. And now what you can do is you don't have to delete and export again, but you will just use this synchronize option. So I will press synchronize, and the application reads the changes in the Tekla model. Let's open the model. And we will see that the bolts were updated. And at the same time, the load that we input before was kept. And you can see the bolts are updated here as well. I can recalculate, and I can do it either from here, or if I close the project and I just want to quickly know whether it passed or did not pass, I can call the calculation directly from the code check manager. So I will use the calculate button in the top ribbon. And for the current item, for this connection, I will call the calculation from here. And we will see the general results directly. So you can see the model is updated and I can see the results. Okay, so that was the export for one connection. But of course, this is not very convenient every time. More often, you want to export more connections, and that was what we implemented again in one of the latest versions, I guess 20.1 or 20, and that's the bulk selection. So I chose a different part of the construction of the structure, and I will press the bulk. Now I will just select the part that I want to export. You can see different members are highlighted, and I will confirm with the spacebar. Again, it asks me whether I want or do not want to export recommended welds. And we can see that the code check manager again popped up, and I can see that I have new items here. And if I switch between them, they are highlighted in the structure. So the connection 2 is this connection. Connection 3 is a single column. This is for the design of the anchoring. This is the corner, again, a column. Number 6 is something that does not give much sense, because as I didn't choose these two columns, I do not have complete connection. So I have an option to delete this connection from the list. So that was my mistake, that I forgot to choose these models, the members. So I will just delete it, and I have a button up here to delete the connection. I will confirm, and it is deleted from the list. And then I have the T joints 7 and 8. Okay, so let's open, for example, this T joint, and I will present how you can load the connection with other way. Again, we can see we have the members and we have the operations exported. I'm missing the load effects, and this time I want to import the load via XLS file. So I will press the button in the top ribbon, and I have a table, and I prepared the load in my Excel sheet. This is something you have, for example, from your structural model or from somebody else. I will just copy and paste it, and I will check this option, replace existing loads, because otherwise it would add me another load combination to this 0 load effects. I don't want to leave the 0 one here, so I will just check the option to replace the loads. And I have also possibility to reorder the lines, because I have to be sure that I'm applying the correct forces at the correct edge of the connection. So you have the option to reorder it. I will press OK. I can check if there are any unbalanced forces. I'm fine. So I can try to calculate the project. I will skip the calculation for this time to save some time. I will just save the project and close it. There's also another option how you can load the connection, and I will show you this option on this corner joint. So let's open it in IDEA StatiCa. And this time I will load it by other IDEA project. So if you have a model of the whole, also in some finite element tool like SAP 2000 or any other, you are able to export the connection from there as well. In such a case, the exported project will look like this. There will be the correct members with the corresponding correct cross sections, and you will have the load exported from the finite element tool. So if you have also such an exported file, you can use it to load your modeled connection from Tekla. So I will use for that the import by connection. I will just select the proper IDEA file. If there are more items in the file, I will choose which one it is. And you can see that we have the load effects here. I will also change the model type for member 3, as it should behave more like a hinge, and therefore I will shift the position of the shear force to bolts. And now I can again start the calculation from here. I will just leave it like it is to save some time, and save only the project and close it. So in the first case, for the column, we changed something in the connection design, the number of bolts. But what happens if you want to change something at the structure itself? it's also possible. Let's say you have to change the cross section of this beam. So let me just select a different cross section. I will choose 1026 instead of 1030. And now we can either update the model for, because this change will also affect this connection, and this connection. So I can either 3 times synchronize single connection, or I can use the batch actions like synchronize all. So I will use it, and the application again will update the model for all the items in the list. So we will wait a while because it goes one by one and reads the changes. And I can see that the preview is lost. So it means that I am finished with the update. Let's open the T-joint and we will check whether the update was really successful. So I should see the updated cross section for this member. You can see there's W1026. You can see it either in the member details, or also with the right mouse button, or down here when I point, when I put my pointer at the member, I can see it always here as well. Okay, so let's just save and close it. You could see that the load was preserved. We can maybe demonstrate it on this connection as well. So we should see the updated cross section. And here we go. It was updated correctly. And at the same time, the changes in the model type was preserved, and also the load was preserved, which is fine. And if I open also this connection, which is number 2, I should see that from one side there's the old cross section, and on the other side there's the new one. Let's just check this. Yeah, and this is the old one, 1030, and the new one, 1026. Okay, cool. And so I'm now interested whether this new cross section will be fine with my load. So I can call the calculation from here for all the items in the list. So I will press calculate all. And after the calculation is done, I will see the general results for the connection, whether it passed or did not pass. Still, there are some items in the list that were not loaded. So for these items, I will just see a remark that the connection was not loaded, so the calculation was skipped. So we can see that some calculation is running, and soon we will have results. And as I mentioned before, this works just the same for other CAD applications like Advanced Steel or Revit, and also it works for the finite element applications. So the CodeCheck Manager can do these things as well. So last connection, last calculation, and we have results. So you can see that everything passed the check, and for the connections that were not loaded, there's a remark that there are no loads on the members. And so I think we just basically went through all the options. There is still a button for settings. Let me just open it. There's a menu how to set your cost and pre-design features. I will not explain these ones because this is this is quite a huge topic, but we have presented that in our release webinar for IDEA StatiCa 20.1. So if you are interested in these new features, please go to our webpage and you can watch the recording of the webinar. And I have also a materials tab where I can just display all the materials and cross sections that I am exporting from Tekla to IDEA StatiCa. And with that, I would close my part and I will leave the floor to Janko, who will speak about the integration. And before he starts his presentation, please let me remind that you can ask your questions via the questions panel. So please use this option.
Okay, so thank you. I hope you hear me well. Is it so?
Yes, we are.
Great, fine. So I hope you can see my screen. And now in my part of presentation, I will show you how to integrate BIMlink plugin into your FEA or CAD application. And in second part, we'll take a look at how to solve the situation when something went wrong during this installation. So at first, I'll show you how to perform integration in a standard way. So we can start via the initial IDEA launch screen. It's the first screen you can see after launching the IDEA StatiCa. And here in the fourth tab named BIM, you can find this button, Activate your BIMlink. So after clicking on it, we can find this list of supported application where the BIMlink CodeCheck Manager can be incorporated. So I'm looking for my application I want to run. So in this case, I will show you Tekla 2020. And here in this place, if it's my first installation, I would have here an active button install. But because I have already installed this plugin, green label installed is here and it's inactive. So I can check now if it's everything I should do, because it should be enough. But if I open my Tekla application, it can happen sometimes that this step I needed, IDEA StatiCa, is missing. So it could happen from more reasons, but the reasons are well known also from the installation of other software. So although according to our statistics, this integration is 99% successful, sometimes it happens. And let's start with a short example of solving this kind of issue. So the first aid, how to solve it, is to try the installation for a particular CAD application once again, and this time manually. So we can do this via our installation folder where we have our IDEA StatiCa application. In most of cases, it would be on our system drive / program files in IDEA StatiCa folder, and we have to select our actual version of StatiCa, and directly in our root file, we are looking for a BED file. These BED files are we can find plenty of them because for each of our supported application, there is a specific bet. So I'm looking for IDEA for Tekla, and this time 2020, and I will run it as an administrator. And what it should do is that it starts installation exactly at it should start in automatic way. And now I can check again if everything's set, but unfortunately I'm unlucky here and still nothing's there. So in this moment I could start writing an indignant but legitimate question for help desk, but I will not do this yet because I have another option in reserve how to solve the problem. I can enter this general search window and type IDEA, and now I can find some macros or functions which are related to IDEA StatiCa, and with this specific macro IDEA CBFM UI, which means user interface, I should be able to launch CodeCheck Manager plugin. So I'll wait if it runs. Yeah, it's there. So it's an information for me that integration was successful. It's installed in Tekla structures, but only my tab or ribbon IDEA StatiCa is missing. So either I will be satisfied with launching the IDEA CodeCheck Manager using this search window, or I could manually add a tab to the toolbar. So now, how to do it? We can proceed via the Tekla basic menu here. Select Settings, Ribbon. Now, in 2 steps, I have to add a new tab for IDEA StatiCa. So now I can type my new name for it and add the tab. It's here. And I have to also add some button. And what will I search is also IDEA, and I'm looking for macro ending with UI again. So it's there. Now I can see my new button here in this part preview. I can rename it as I'm used to. So CodeCheck Manager. And now I can use it as it is, but I also want to have its icon as I'm used to. So I will look for some picture also in installation folder for StatiCa. So it's again program files / IDEA StatiCa 20.1, and then subfolder pictures. And I can select basically any icon I would have there, but if I look for original IDEA logo, it's here. I can use it for it. And now I can see how the button will look. The last thing I have to do is just the drag and drop the button into toolbar and close the setting window. I save the changes, and now Tekla asks me if I want save also ribbon changes. So yes, and I have my button here. I can check if it works as it should. And here we are. It's the window Jana started her presentation with, so I can proceed to CodeCheck Manager. And so it should be all from my brief presentation. I also like to mention that this guide will be soon available, not only between webinar recordings, but also in knowledge base library on our support center. And so thank you all for your attention. And now I'm passing the word back to Jana.
Okay. Thank you. Let me just grab the screen. So thanks, Janko. And before we close the session, I will just ask you to fill the second and last poll. Oh, sorry. This was something that was not supposed to. Okay, so I just closed it by accident. Okay, so we will skip the poll and let me just go to your questions. So there were quite a lot of them. I don't think we are able to go through all of them, but so very common question is why the link does not work both ways. So do we have to do the changes in Tekla, or we can change it in IDEA and send these changes back to Tekla? So this is something that, of course, would be very great, but there are some reasons why we do not have it at the moment. Of course, there's a technical reason for that, because that would need also Tekla to cooperate on this link with us. And at the moment, the link with Tekla is developed by us. So we take care of the link and of the API. And also the CodeCheck Manager works not only with Tekla, but with other applications. So this is something which could be quite difficult technically to send changes from IDEA to Tekla as well. And there's another reason for that, which is more philosophical, and it's that we want to keep the workflow clean, and we want always to have the models updated and the same. So there's an option if you start to change something in Tekla and then something in IDEA, that you would destroy the synchronicity between these two models. So at the moment, we just try to encourage people to keep the changes or change the things in Tekla and send it to IDEA and recalculate. Okay. Then there was a question about loading the connection with the file exported from some finite element tool. This is something which was discussed more in detail in other webinars, and we have also a special tutorial for that on our website. So please go through our documentation, because it's a more advanced topic, how you can combine these two models, the finite element model and the CAD model. And of course, you have to be aware of the fact that the order of the members has to be the same in both projects, because if I load it with a project where the members are not in the same order, of course it will not work. I would need to reorder the lines in the loads. So you can avoid this by selecting the connection manually, so exporting it from Tekla one by one. And in such a case, the order I'm selecting the members in Tekla will be the order that I will have in IDEA StatiCa Connection. So if you select the members in such an order that complies with the project from robot, for example, then you will not have this problem. We know that this is not very convenient way, but of course we will work on some automation of this process, and this is something that definitely will be in the future development. Okay, so thank you for your questions. The rest, I don't
Sorry,
think
Anna,
we.
could
Yes,
I have
you do.
one note?
Any other?
I had the poll again, so we can run it in the end.
Okay. Okay, yeah, thank you very much. So, okay, let's start the poll. I'm sorry for that, was my mistake, and I'm not a newbie here, but still I can do something wrong. Okay, so please let us know what would you appreciate for the future development. And you have, of course, more options, but please try to select two most. So is it the calculation speed up and the option to have parallel calculation in cloud, or automatic merge of the structural model from FEM application and the detailing model from CAD application? Or is it automatic detection of the decisive combinations of load from finite element application? Or would you appreciate more some better filtering and grouping of imported connections? So please give us know what is the most hot feature that you would appreciate. I will leave 5 more seconds because I can see not all of you voted. Okay, and okay, there are still more and more people voting. Okay, so let me just close it and share you the results, and you can see that what I was speaking about, the automatic merge of those two models, is the most wanted topic for you. Okay, so thank you very much. We will definitely use this for our product development engineers, and we will pass them your wishes. And let me just close this webinar with some practical things. Of course, you will have a recording of this webinar available on our YouTube channel and on our website. We kindly ask you to fill a short survey out after the webinar. Let us know how you like the topic, how you like the webinar itself, and what do you want to see next time in the webinar. And of course, if you have never tried IDEA StatiCa, please download our trial version from website, and all the important things regarding the documentation, regarding tutorials, how to integrate, how to use the link, everything is on our support center on the website. Last information, let me invite you on the first place to our next webinar, which is focused on concrete and on some hot help desk topics. And this is on February the 17th. You can sign up for the webinar on our website. And also, let me invite you to IDEA StatiCa Campus if you want to make your knowledge of IDEA StatiCa Connection deeper. You can use our educational platform and get a certificate for your competence. Thank you very much for your time. I'm sorry for my technical collapse during the poll, and I hope we'll see each other next time on some other webinar. Have a nice day.
All the best. Bye bye.